If you're struggling with porn, then you'll be so happy that you watched this video because I have so many things to tell you about it. But first off, my name is Vivien. I've had my own fair share of struggles with porn and intimacy and sex and sexuality and all those things. But I've actually found a lot of myself through solving those problems. I've actually found way closer to myself by having all of these problems, and I've learned to make it quite of a strength. And now I'm a pretty intimate guy, let's say like that. But in this video, I'll get into what the true spiritual problem is about porn, what the real problem is about porn. It's not just that it's stimulating and dopamine. And I'll give you some actionable steps of how to quit porn, but also heal your relationship to yourself, your relationship to your dick, to intimacy, and just feel much more whole and confident as a person. Because that's the real problem behind pornography. And that's the way we're just getting right into it. So when I was 18, I had my struggles with porn, but I had some intimate encounters that ended up not being so intimate because I couldn't get hard, right? And that shit destroyed me. I felt so soft, so uncomfortable, so unmanly. And I really thought, fuck, my whole life is ruined. Not because my life is ruined, but because my sexuality is ruined. And if my sexuality is ruined, what is life worth living, right? Because it's such a substantial part of life. And I really thought that it would never get better. But little did I know how much hope there was, like how much hope there was. And I just wish that I could tell that to my younger self, which is why I'm making this video. I really want to let you know how much hope there is, how much more hope there is than you can imagine. So essentially, to get right into it, the real problems with porn, number one is how you use it. And number two is how you feel about yourself while using it. The problem of porn isn't necessarily the dopamine and stuff. That is part of the problem, but it's mainly that porn has always existed. Naked women have always existed on paintings. Playboy magazines have existed for decades. The real problem is high-speed internet porn. So videos, reels, just the very, very stimulating stuff, and being able to have all of it so accessible to you on your phone. That's the main problem. And the problem that adds to that is how you feel about yourself using it. And most guys will heavily demonize themselves for using porn, of course. Most guys that watch porn aren't voluntarily watching it. And so they demonize this part of themselves that's weak, that succumbs to temptation, that wants intimacy. But as we will realize soon, that part of you really doesn't need any hate. It really doesn't need any suppression, because it's a much deeper part of you that is yearning for intimacy, for love. You just substitute it with cheap dopamine, cheap intimacy porn. So those are the two main problems. It's how porn is, how you use porn, and the way you feel about yourself when being addicted to pornography. Those two things are what ruin you, ruin your brain, ruin your sexuality. Not forever, but temporarily. Because the stimulating part of yourself, this shouldn't be too new to you guys. Just as the more stimulating something is, the more you get used to it, and the less you feel less stimulating things. So for example, if you're very used to drinking lots of caffeine, a small dose of caffeine won't affect you as much. A small dose of porn won't affect you as much as a large, stimulating, kinky, fetish type of porn. So that's one part of it, that distorts your perception of sexuality, of yourself, and it conditions you to porn instead of real life intimacy and sexuality. But the second part is how you feel about yourself. And as you demonize this part of you that likes porn, because you gotta admit that to yourself, some part of you enjoys porn. That side of you that wants intimacy, that wants sex, is happy to have a little bit of porn in their life. But as you demonize this part of yourself, you automatically demonize all of your sexuality, and in part the entirety of yourself, because your subconscious cannot distinguish the part of you that likes porn and the part of you that likes sex in general, or women, or intimacy, or fun, or laughter, or the rest of your life. But let's not get too deep into that because that's a little too abstract. Just remember, if you suppress a part of your sexuality, you suppress the entirety of your sexuality. And so the solutions that I've come up with is like a 4 or 5-ish steps that you can take to quit porn, but not only quit porn, but heal your entire relationship to yourself, to sexuality, to your dick, to life, to women, to everything in general. Because you'll see that porn has a slightly larger impact on your life than you can imagine. But I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to tell you that there's so much you can do about not being addicted to porn, but healing your entire sexuality, because that's what it really needs. Your life doesn't need quitting porn. That's a part of it. But what's really helpful is if you heal your entire sexuality, the way you'll never fall back onto porn. Before getting into the 5 steps, I want to let you know this one last thing. The part of you that wants porn, that likes porn, is actually the part of you that wants intimacy, that wants to feel love, connection. But if that love and connection is missing, you will find the easiest way to find the cheap version of that love and affection and connection, which is porn. Porn makes you feel in some way connected, because an orgasm makes you feel so connected, and if you can see naked women and shit, that's essentially what your body, your subconscious, your mind is doing. You want women, you want presence, you want affection, you want connection, you want attention. You want to give attention and presence and love and affection. But this interchange is not happening. There's a disconnect from the world, because I'll admit it, it's not always easy to get girls, to be with girls, to have fun with girls, and to be so connected with life. So your weaker moments will be defined by you grabbing the cheapest version of porn, the cheapest version of intimacy. So what are the 5 steps to quit porn and to heal your intimacy? So number 1 would be to forget that quitting porn is hard. I know this sounds weird, but I also had such a hard time quitting porn until one day I just decided, okay, fuck it. I'm just gonna quit without placing too much thought onto it, without placing too much importance onto it. And that was it. That was it. I stopped after that. But in addition to the other steps. But so what I really want to tell you is that quitting porn isn't as hard as you believe. Yes, you have some part of your brain that's shaped by using porn consumption, etc. But the reality is that you can really change behaviors really, really easy. You can always change. You are always in control of what you want in your life, especially if you're more aware of how stuff happens. If you're more aware of what's working within you when you want to watch porn, you'll be able to quit so much more easily. So that would be number 1. Step number 2 would be to utilize any kind of large change within your life, any event or move or shift or new apartment or new family member, old family member, someone who died. Any large shift within your life is an opportunity for you to change your habits, because your brain will be in a very malleable state. As anyway something so big changes your environment, you have a new room, a new apartment, as anyway your brain is doing so much adaptation, you'll be less reminded of your porn addiction, and it provides more. You can use that momentum of this malleability of your brain, of your neural pathways changing, to also change the neural pathway of porn addiction. So you can piggy bank off of the neuroplasticity happening within your brain from a large event happening in your life to also change your porn addiction, to also change this neural pathway of addiction. And yes, there is a potential for large shifts to make you want to look for the familiar pathways in your brain, which makes you want to use porn. But both have lots of potential. So capitalize on the potential to change the neural pathway if something changes. Because how I quit porn was when I moved to Berlin for 2 months and had a new apartment, new friends, new job, new life. Everything was different. And so it was pretty easy for me to have new habits. But in addition to that, I would like to tell you the 3rd step. The 3rd step is to get to know women in real life, because that is essentially your biggest underlying issue of porn. If you're looking for intimacy, and everyone is looking for connection and intimacy and love, then why not find it within someone else? So much about nofap is stopping fapping, stopping porn, but essentially you're just sexually and you're just starving yourself from this connection with other people. Not everyone can channel all of this energy into their work and into sports. Many will benefit much more off of meeting someone in real life who they can genuinely connect with, who they can feel intimate with. You don't need to make it weird or anything, but just having the smile of a woman in your life is beautiful. And it might satisfy so much more deeper part of yourself than the part that porn satisfies. Making a girl laugh, or seeing her smile or dance, even if it's just a friend, it doesn't need to be a date or an intimate part or like a sex partner. It can literally just be a woman that you perceive, or like genuinely perceive with intention and appreciation. That is what will genuinely fulfill you as a man. And for that, you can sign up to dance class, to cooking class, I don't know, go to some choir or something. Don't make it weird. Don't go there for the women. But if you go there with the intention of just appreciating the connection that you have from doing activities with other people, also guys, just having fun, like making homies, that is what will satisfy this deep part of you that's craving intimacy. So we got forgetting that porn is difficult to quit. 2 is utilizing any large shift in your life. And 3 is getting to know women in real life. Now, these are not in chronological order, but number 4 is something that's very, very counterintuitive. But we talked about having the suppression of your sexuality being a big part of the issue. That if you suppress the porn part of yourself, that you suppress the entire sexuality part of yourself. To loosen that up a bit, I actually recommend one last conscious jerk to porn. Now, for some of you, the alarms might be going off, like, what? No, I can't do that. And that's exactly the part of you that's suppressing your sexuality. If you allow yourself one last conscious jerk, ideally not scrolling through all the videos, skipping through all the videos, but choosing one picture or video or whatever, and just having a last fucking wank to that, where you fully accept yourself, you fully enjoy it, you're like, fuck yeah, this is a part of me really loves this. One last time, you'll open so many doors within yourself. You'll feel so sexually liberated because your subconscious won't suppress the entirety of your sexuality anymore. So that's like a very, very counterintuitive but super helpful step to quit porn. And I don't think I have a 5th step. These are just 4. So yeah, essentially having one last conscious jerk, meeting women in real life, utilizing a large shift within your environment, moving whatever, and forgetting that porn is difficult to quit, which, as I've told you about today, as you've learned all of the intricacies about porn addiction and how it doesn't have to be so difficult, how as you implement these changes, meeting women, utilizing a shift within your environment, and having one last beautiful conscious jerk, that quitting isn't that hard. Now, I hope that the stuff that I had to tell you today made you feel a little lighter about your porn addiction, because that's essentially what it's all about. You feel heavy, and that's why, like, you feel bad and heavy, and that's why you watch porn. But as you feel lighter and more connected to life, more connected to women, more connected to yourself, that's where you'll be less looking for porn. I wish you all the best. I love you very much. Take care, and thanks for watching.